So the whole point of Yonex's VCORE Pro, now called Percept racket line, is control and feel. The problem is their VDM tech, or vibration damping mesh, whether it be in the E-zone or in the VCORE, to me it's just always been too muted. Not enough feel, too dead, almost like the rackets just didn't have a soul. This is essentially one of the biggest problems in tennis. You see, vibration is a double-edged sword. Too much vibration, we start feeling it in our wrists, our elbows. We've all tried rackets like the Babolat Pure Strike Project 1.7, described them as too stiff, jarring, and flat out uncomfortable. On the other hand, you have too little vibration. You just don't get enough feel transmitted through the string bed, making it very hard to diagnose your mistakes on court, and even more importantly, robbing us of that orgasmic sensation of hitting that perfectly struck ball. Thankfully, one of the biggest changes for the Percept in 2023 is the removal of VDM, replacing it with servo filter. The other major change is the softening of the throat and the stiffening of the hoop. Ideally, this should retain that sweet, long dwell time on the string bed that we've come to love with these VCORE Pros, while increasing stability and forgiveness during those off-center shots.
You see, on court, it just really doesn't feel that different. It's a true VCORE Pro despite the name change. Low power and a ton of hoop flex. Oh.
This hoop flex means it's very easy to feel exactly where you made contact with the ball on the string bed, and there's a huge amount of ball pocketing to go alongside with it.
I will say I do think servo filter does clean the feel up a little bit. Not quite as muted, a little bit more connected, and a little bit more direct. But it's hard to say without hitting them back to back. I don't think you're gonna notice unless you really are connected to the racket.
So this video is brought to you by our friends over at Direct Tennis. If you're looking to get your racket strung and you're not sure where to go, Direct Tennis is an app that's gonna help you find those stringers right from the comfort of your home. For example, I'm visiting my parents right now. I don't know where I gotta get my racket strung. Forget that I do them myself. Sometimes I'm just feeling lazy. I can use that Direct Tennis app, find some local stringers near me, and trust that I'm gonna get that good job done. So thanks so much, Direct Tennis. Check out the links in the description below to get signed up. They've got apps for both iOS and Android, obviously, and a website too. So let's take a look at the specs on the Percept. Static weight, 310 unstrung. TW's getting an average swing weight about 315, and we've got that very flexy strung 60 RA. So anytime you're going to be combining that low flex with a lower swing weight, power and stability are going to be really hard to find.
For me, the big issue with the base 97 is stability and power. Against better players like Ali here, I just don't feel confident. I feel great if I can be the aggressor. But balls like that where my feet are too slow, it's tough for me to stay ahead. With this low swing weight, it just leads to way too many unforced errors for my game.
So this is where I think we need to make an important distinction. In tennis, we often see power and control as opposing forces. And I've always found this funny because in politics, the more powerful you are, the more things you control. But I've come to find that even in tennis, power and control might not be those opposing forces we think they are. You see, I perceive power as how consistently and how predictably a racket behaves on contact. So to me, control means you can just change the direction of the ball without hesitation. You know exactly what racket face angle is required to smack that backhand up the line because the racket will produce the same ball over and over. Control means that you can reliably predict the height over the net and the depth into the court you'll find on every shot.
I'm really just not convinced with the Percept 97. The combination of a low flex and a low swing weight means there's no effective power to use. It's all racket head speed. And to me, that doesn't mean it's a control-oriented racket. It means it has low power, and that's what I call a lazy man's definition of control.
And because of that, the Percept is a pretty hard sell for me. How can you control the racket when it just quivers anytime someone gives you some pace? Sure, it pockets the ball probably better than any 97 or 98 in a 310, 315 weight class. But I think most players are going to get better playability out of other rackets.
Honestly, if you don't have enough foot speed to keep up with your opponents, you're not going to be able to center the ball, and you cannot rely on this racket to give you any extra help.
The Percept 97 just doesn't inspire you to crush every shot the same way the D or the H might, and it's a far cry from Wawrinka's actual racket, the 95D. These Percepts simply need extra weight to hit big Wawrinka-like balls, and of course, that's what we want to do when we're using a Percept or a VCORE Pro, because he's the man who's won slams with those rackets. So where do we look? There's got to be something out there that has this player spec, super headlight with a smaller head. It's got that amazing ball pocketing that Percept does so well, but offers more consistency off the string bed and is backed by better stability.
Pure Strike VS. I cannot put this thing down.
I think it is a much more complete and playable racket. Same head size, same static weight, and still has pretty solid ball pocketing. Both look amazing in my opinion, but I think the Strike is just so much more playable. It's so much more easy to use, but you're not giving up that much. Sure, it doesn't quite swing as fast, but it has so much more easy, natural power, and there's enough stability for you to really redirect pace and get a consistent response, which is what we all want from a player's racket anyway. So who is this Percept 97 even for? Well, for me, it's really hard to say. Yes, this racket does manage spin, flat shots, slice shots all equally well. It's pretty decent from all areas of the court, except for a few areas like defense and service returns where it absolutely sucks. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, the Percept had me feeling more like Hubi Hurkacz playing Djokovic in a tiebreaker, as opposed to the Stan the man feeling beating Djokovic in a Grand Slam final, which is the feeling that I want from Yonex's Percept. So I think if you're gonna get anything out of this racket, customization is a must. You need to add weight to the upper hoop to find any kind of stability or plow through. So it really is a good thing that Yonex does make the H and the D versions, as I've always felt that they've done a much better job at delivering that classic player's experience with mass-driven stability and power.
I will say this Wasabi looks pretty good in the Percept.
So what would I like to see Yonex fix for the next version? I think that swing weight needs to be bumped up at least to 325. There is no point in having a swing weight this low. Everyone who's going to be playing this racket is going to need to add weight. And if you're someone who needs a lower swing weight like that, just go for something that has more forgiving. You probably need a bigger head size. You probably need a thicker beam if you're going to play that way. So love the paint job, but it's a miss for me. If you have any questions in the comments, please let me know, and we'll see you next time.